Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Let's talk about the kickstart of the market today. Especially, we're going to be focusing on Palantir Technologies because earnings is now only 1 week away. It's going to be happening next Monday post-market. We're going to be talking about what Morningstar came out with an article and talking about some indicators on what to watch for with this earnings. And especially, Palantir starts to get pretty volatile due to all the different perspectives and positions that come in, people trying to trade off of PLTR in the short term. We're going to be also talking about what's happening in the market this week. We have some major tech stocks that are going to be reporting earnings, which is also going to bring more volatility into the market. And also, we have NVDA making some interesting moves. So talking about Palantir, sitting at $27 right now. What's in it for its future? And could the push for $30 here possibly happen before next week? Now, if you are a new or a returning viewer, hit the like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Palantir Technologies, like I said, closes here at $27. What I'm typically and personally seeing is volume that's actually coming down a little bit. And this could be happening in the market kind of across the board. Like I said, as a lot of investors, and especially Wall Street, is waiting for these big tech stocks to report their earnings. We'll go through what these tickers are in a second. But with Palantir holding at the 27s, this is kind of becoming a little bit of a support level. If this does fail, we have seen support a little kind of around the 25s. Not a ton. I wouldn't call this a foundational level support or anything like that, but it has been seen to show some support there. And we see resistance kind of here at the mid 27s. Now, talking about what could be happening in terms of next week, looking at the options in terms of expirations, what we're seeing for call volumes, we're seeing a decent amount of call volume basically at that $28 strike price going into next week. Likewise, compared to the puts, it's a pretty even battle, but interesting to see calls here at the 28. Specifically talking about what should we expect for earnings. This is the article that comes out here by Morningstar talking about what to watch for in Q2 earnings. And really, one of the big things is AIP. We've talked about this all the time. And really, if the boot camps, are they really running well? And are they worth it? One thing that we should typically be on the whereabouts is increase customer adoption, an increase in customer count. Now, we have seen this for the previous several quarters. I think a continuation of this is definitely going to be important, especially at a good incremental level. And also looking to see an increase in customers who use Palantirs as they really onboard, utilizing their leverage for AI, bringing it into their business, looking to see increase in both the commercial side of things and the governmental side of things. But one thing that analysts are going to be looking at in particular is the commercial side of things, because that's where Palantir has really been exploding in terms of exposure in its previous earnings reports in the last few quarters. And talking about this, I think the evolution and the expansion of AIP is a really good growth story for Palantir. Governmental segments, I think it's going to be important that we also see a growth there. But one important thing that even Morningstar comes out here is to highlight its valuation. We do know that Palantir is overvalued right now, just looking at the peer numbers. Looking at right now, they give a fair value estimate of $16, which puts it at basically a value to sales multiple of 12. One thing though, throwing valuation and fair price out the window, the momentum that's behind the AI market right now. And that really is the bull strength that is sitting behind Palantir. And due to the rapidly and the exponential increase in data that is really going to be harvested by these organizations, Palantir is looking to get a piece of that pie. And being involved with the AI industry, we've seen this demand that has really accelerated to explode in the last few years. And one big thing that Palantir does have sitting on its shoulders is the financial strength. Its position is very healthy. We've talked about this. The balance sheet is one of the best balance sheets that I've really seen in terms of a stock that kind of has likewise market caps. The company ended fiscal year 2023 with around $3.7 billion in cash and liquid investments in literally no debt. So Palantir only first posted its GAAP profitability in 2023, expecting here the firm to continue to grow. Now, the bears, and what they're saying right here, is that basically Palantir's AI platform is a good start, but they anticipate a lot of competition to come in years ahead. And kind of to rebuttal that statement right there, personally, Palantir Technologies does have over like 2 decades in the whole industry in developing these products. They've only been publicly traded for the last 3 years. But for how long Palantir has really worked to build its credibility, its trustworthiness, and we've seen this with the establishment of the governmental contracts, I think is a key variable that helps them stay as a leading competitor within the industry. Now, of course, August 5th, post-market, 8 cents per share, 652 in terms of revenue. That's what we are expecting. Palantir strikes a new deal today, a new green energy deal with Tree Energy Solutions. Now, they announced today that they're going to be joining forces with Tree Energy Solutions, which is a leader in the field of electric natural gas derived from green hydrogen. Now, this did not really move PLTR a ton in terms of price actions. But what's happening with Palantir Technologies is that you can see they are continuing to tap into these various industries. And as this comes, more revenue, and we're seeing in terms of the public limelight that customer additions are continuing to increase. So I think this is important, and this is showing the demonstrated growth of Palantir that is still continuing to establish these important partnerships. And that's where we sit with the stock market right now. We're going to be recapping this. We see not a ton of gain in the broader market, and that is because we have big earnings from Microsoft, Meta, Apple, and Amazon. They're all set to report their quarterly results in the next coming days. And also, a big key event this week is going to be the Federal Reserve meeting with the central bank. They're going to release a policy statement on Wednesday. Now, the Fed, we talked about this when the expectation for those interest rate cuts is going to occur. The Fed is not expected to actually cut the benchmark interest rates, which sits right now from 5.25 to 5.5% this week. But traders are really pricing in and gearing in on basically, I don't want to say a guarantee, but a high confidence that they're going to see the central bank make its first move with this interest rate cut come September in the meeting. Now, we're also seeing here a volatile week. We had a big dip in the market last week. However, we've seen a good recovery. And I think the big and these large stocks, large blue chip stocks right here, reporting their earnings is going to be a continuation on what the demand in AI is looking like. And that is because all of these companies right here are really taking a big bet and diving a lot of their resources into developing and building, I want to say, the technology that we call artificial intelligence. And what we see with NVIDIA is actually a little bit of a pullback here. Most likely, people are talking about due here to this technical analysis, saying that it loses its 50-day moving average. Now, one important thing to talk about, especially for the NVIDIA traders here, in the long term, I think NVIDIA is still a very positive play. We've seen the metrics that they've released in their earnings. But one important thing I think to bring to reality here is not all stocks just go straight up. They do need to pull back at some times. Otherwise, everybody would just be millionaires across the board. What we see with NVIDIA is they did gain 750% since early of 2023. And now trading at about $120 per share. And it actually pulled back to about 111 today. Let me see if I can get up here on the stocks that we've got on the watch list right here. If we can find it, 111 today. So we see a little bit of a pullback here. This is not alarming to me at all. Like the article mentioned, NVIDIA had a 750% run up. So a little bit of a cool off right here is important, I think. Just look at the chart right here and how quickly that NVIDIA has really came into the limelight. And even for a short amount of time, it was the #1 valued stock in the world. So on a technical analysis here, some short selling pressure, profit taking, and especially if we have some of these other big tech earnings that aren't going to be as positive. I mean, time is only going to tell with that. That's going to be happening in a few short days. NVIDIA cooling off, I think, is important, not just for the kind of the longevity, but letting the stock cool down. That's what I have for you guys. I want to know, what do you think is going to be happening to Palantir here in the next few days, especially with not a ton of trading days coming up? with earnings? Do you think they're going to beat them, be in line, miss them? And do you think that push to $30, that's in the near future? Or do you think there's too much resistance at that point? Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later. Have a wonderful start to your week.